So you've probably heard of quiet quitting, right? That's where employees do the bare minimum at their jobs and hoping that they maybe get fired. But now some couples are bringing this very strategy in their love lives, and they're calling it quiet dumping.
So local professional matchmaker Camille Kostin from It's Lunch Milwaukee, or Just Lunch Milwaukee.
Yeah, It's Just Lunch, yeah.
Here with us this morning to explain this. This is a new term. Good morning to you. What exactly is this quiet dumping situation?
I feel like it's been around, but it's similar to the quiet quitting trend, right? But in dating, it's when one partner gradually distances themselves from the other partner without any communication in hopes that they will realize the distant behavior and end the relationship so they don't have to.
You know what? I always see a sign, I'm sick. When someone's like, I'm sick, I'm not feeling well. And it's the distance between time comes to, I think.
We see that in the workplace too. People call in sick a lot when they're getting ready to quit.
Why exactly? Why are people? Why do they do this quiet dumping?
It's a great question. It's such a passive aggressive way to break up with somebody, right? And look, I don't think it's a malicious, meant to be malicious, but it is manipulative. Nobody wants to have that awkward conversation or be in that difficult situation. But for quiet dumpers, they're thinking they can avoid that altogether and it'll just work itself out on its own. But it's really just not fair to your partner.
Yeah. What do you recommend doing if somebody's watching at home and they're like, I think somebody's doing this to me right now? How should they handle it?
Yeah, well, first you want to look out for the signs, right? Yeah. And you kind of mentioned, I'm sick, right? One of the biggest signs is that if they are, that communication is lacking. They're not reaching out throughout the day. They're not calling you. They're not, maybe those good morning texts aren't happening anymore. You're not seeing each other as much. You're not spending that much time. They're saying that they're busy. They can't make time to see you. Start looking out for those red flags. And then there's certain ways you can do it. If you feel like you are being quiet dumped, bring it up. Talk to them about it. Discuss it with your partner. Tell them that you've been noticing the changes and, see what they say. There could be a one-off. Maybe your partner needs some support mentally or emotionally.
They could be in a little bit of a rut too, right? And they may need that support.
It doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship is over. There is some explanation for this sometimes, or not really?
Sometimes. Honestly, go with your gut. Chances are, if there is something that's in your gut telling you it's off, trust that, that's probably right. But if you have that conversation with your partner and they're telling you that everything's okay, but the behavior still continues, believe that. I always tell my clients at It's Just Lunch to believe the actions. Words can only go so far. Yeah. So watch out for the gaslighting. If you're continuously having that conversation and they're reassuring you no, everything's okay, but it's still continuing, it's going to make yourself go crazy when you're probably not crazy. Yeah.
I'm also noticing that if you're really unable to, your partner's not able to understand the lows in the relationship, you want people to maybe step back and kind of reassess things?
Look, reassess your relationship. Ask yourself, is this even a partner that I want? If your partner can't communicate effectively, communication is one of, if not the most important foundations in a relationship. So if you have a partner that cannot communicate or have that emotional intelligence to do that, do you even want a relationship? So ask yourself, what do I deserve? And if you're the person that is quiet dumping, if you're doing this, just remember that the longer that you drag this out, the harder and more unfair it's going to be for your partner. It's brutal. It's not nice.
And too, you have to figure, if somebody is doing this to you, is this the kind of person that you really want to be with? Because it's hard to respect somebody who does something like this because it is really passive aggressive and kind of weak.
Yeah, it is. It's, gross, not to be whatever, but grow some balls, have the conversation, talk to you.
Exactly.
You in a relationship, not every day is going to be perfect and not every relationship is going to have the most magical days, but you have to be able to push through it and have the conversations and the communication you can.
So how do you prevent being quietly dumped? How do you prevent that?
we don't have a magic 8 ball. Right. There's no way to predict the future. And don't really know how anything's going to pan out. But kind of like I said, if you start from the jump, having a solid foundation, and that goes with communication, honesty, transparency, being upfront with each other from the beginning, you have a chance to build that solid foundation and have a healthy relationship.
Well, and we're so glad that you're here today, Camille, because this is the National Dumping Day. I guess today, December 11th, is the most common day that people get dumped.
Oh, God. Stay away from
Turn your phones off today.
Turn your phones off on silent. No, I'm just joking. But Yeah.
Because the holidays, people have a tendency to kind of reflect this time of year.
Right. This is a really sticky time, right? Nobody wants to get dumped around the holidays. That would be terrible. But what I would suggest is if this happens, emotions are temporary, right? It's going to be a temporary feeling. So put yourself around people that you love, that love you back, and just remember, and this is the corny me that's going to come out, but everything happens for a reason.
Right.
And you're exactly where you're supposed to be today. So this person was not meant to be your person. So get through it. You're going to get through it. And there's going to be something bigger and better for you on the other side.
I want you to just look at our body language. You have us leaned in. This has been such a good conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That was so powerful,
Yeah,
Camille.
a lot of it.
What a great note to end on. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.